I think it'll work on the Wi-Fi since Verizon sucks lately. If you really want full unlimited access, they're kind of baiting and switching us. Not good. So, the waters shall boil. Most Enlightenment traditional things and currently in spades are turning out to be bullshit or bait and switch, just like Verizon. We'll give you enlightenment, but you don't ever get it, right? It doesn't ever happen. By the way, this is a live chat, so this is really the only thing on this and the webcasts on the weekends are the only things I'm doing for money currently. So if you ever feel interested in helping me with this or assisting or you find these valuable, you can contribute here. I appreciate those of you that do. So I'm just walking my doggies this morning. I'm leaving Sedona today, going back down to Phoenix for a while. And walking the dogs early. I'm talking to my neighbor, and him and his wife he makes kombucha, and he's certified to do his own kombucha, sells it all around the area. She's a yoga teacher out at a very fancy, beautiful resort, and they're great people. And so it's this little street we live on, and there's lots of people here. And a lot of the people are spiritual, and others are, you know, locals. And I've joked about it before, but up the street, there's right next to the there's a very nice restaurant in town. I don't want to name names, so much, I do too much of that, but very raw vegan restaurant, really nice. And they're into, they've had it for 10 years. It's a known place in town. And the young kids that work there live in the house up the street. The owner owns that house, and so they get to stay there sort of cheap or whatever as they work, and they can walk to work. And there's a lot of cars. And so next to someone living next door has put up a sign they've made that says, if you park here, bad shit will happen. Okay? So in loving Sedona, we're all spiritual, namaste, there's an undercurrent of bad shit will happen. The Jekyll and Hyde thing. And of course, we're starting to wake up to this now again. And you've heard me talk about it lately. Light chasers. Those that are into the light, the bigger the back. You're going to to say it, the bigger the front. Don't be fronting. The bigger the backside. I call it astrails. Astral. Oh, I'm a 4 or 5D communion. Yeah. Well, you're 4D, your astral, the shit coming out the backside of your chakras, ain't looking so good. Bad shit's happening. Feel it? And I'm not doing this as pointing fingers, but it's just to try to help us, because this stuff is really tough. When you try to pray it away, pray the gay away, or or focus on the positive, the vibrations, it's not the full picture. Like lately, my friends are talking about ascension. Who the fuck came up with that? There's still a wanting to escape. There's an escapism in most, quote, Enlightenment old schools, right? I mean, the whole Tibetan Hindu thing is like, let's be honest, and that's my background. Yogananda since I was 19, and other lifetimes, and Babaji, and the yogic path was the highest path, yeah, both. Light workers need to be, you got to be in the world, but not of the world. Hey, there's a guy who said that a few thousand years ago. So this is going to become increasingly apparent, boom, hitting us in the face, boom, you're not going to be able to run from it. I'm not. I mean, I had a lot of access, and still do, to the Akashic record. I can interpret and feel it. But I am insisting, and with the help of God, Source, Father, Mother, and the Masters that I call, they've told me not to mention all their names all the time anymore. Don't be so name dropping, Tobias. They are helping me detox my body and my emotions. Last night was a tough fucking motherfucking night for me again. I had to write my shaman friend and go, my heart's acting up. And, by the way, don't go looking for the Kundalini symptoms, the ascension symptoms. I'm on the ascension. No, keep it real. When you feel great, feel great. Be honest with, what the fuck is that electric needle in my toe? And what's that thing coming in through my assemblage point? And Why am I terrified for no reason? Be honest, because we're cleaning our bodies. That's the water shall boil part. We're made of water, 70% of water. And John the Divine there on the island of Patmos, I used to know a friend who was an anthropologist who did his PhD dissertation about the island of Patmos, which is a little Greek island south of Crete. And John sees, he puts it in the book of Revelation, I think it is, and the waters shall boil. What happens when you boil water? You're distilling it, right? Someone sent me a distiller from England. Thank you very much. For free. Beautiful. She converted it and just said, Tobias, I want you to have it. One of the really good ones. And so as we start boiling, anyone noticed lately on Earth that shit's getting a little more intense, a little faster? The cycles, the end time madness occurring in some people, and lots of people checking out on drugs or give me the flu shot. I'm 70, just kill me now, right? And God's source is doing it so loving. I'm hesitating even talking about it, but just so last night's tough for me. I'm going through purging still. Now I'm a little better at it than I was a year ago, because when this hits you, and especially if you've been a spiritual person, like you've been a yogi for 20 years. I can't tell you how many clients. I'm not doing clients right now. Maybe one every 2 weeks or something. That feels right. Many people go, Tobias, I don't want to do my yoga anymore. I don't want to do my metta meditation. I don't want to, I just, there's a resistance in me. I want to, because it was so rigid. So these old rigid systems that are, it's like the military. Up at 5:30, sit on your cushion, fucking push through it. All those paths are going to come undone because we're moving into something simpler. Like my dogs do a practice that's more simple than any enlightenment stuff. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I did yoga 7 years for yoga every night, every morning, all that, right? Way back. Thanks for the contribution. And but all the old schools are going to fall apart because something simpler is going to blossom. What's your dog? They don't exercise. I'm on an exercise regimen. What are you, in the fucking army? That's right for some people, but for those of us that are moving into become ye as little children, or the innocence, or Osho's thing, or Yogananda, or St. Francis, right? St. Francis became ye as little children, imitation of Christ, become like Christ. I can't get Jesus to give me regulations and bullet points. These are the 10 steps you need to follow. The 7 steps. My friend was joking yesterday. He goes, I've created the 12 steps of the 7 movements of the triads, 3 triads to enlightenment. Like what? Step by step. We're so programmed by that, step by step. One weird trick, step by step to enlightenment. It doesn't work that way. It goes formless. Mother, look at Mother. Heal the raven out there. It's chaotic, natural unfolding. And Mother creates more beautiful spaces. When I go up Oak Creek Canyon, I joke about, I love the designer. The exterior designer here is so much better than the millions of dollars they spend at Stanley Gardens in Vancouver. Vancouver? All right, Vancouver. Or in the palaces of Europe, in perfectly trimmed hedges, organized, regimented, and the gardeners, are working for the royals like little serf slaves. It doesn't feel good. Mother feels good. She creates incredible nooks and crannies and beauty and scents. Joy was remarking, my partner, the other day, about, I bought her some peaches from Sprouts, the natural grocer. She goes, these have no flavor. They don't even smell. She went to the Mexican market. She goes, these have flavor and smell still. The ones imported from Mexico. So natural essence, whether it's in your peaches, really shake your peaches, shake your tree. Okay, I love your peaches, baby. Right? I want to shake your tree of life. Yes. Right? So most enlightenment schools are going to be failing at this time. Now, I'm not saying this is not a license to stop. If you need it until you can let go of it, right? The ladder, you need the ladder to get to the window, but you can't bring the ladder in through the window with you. So the method all those methods will fail at this point. I've so many clients going, I don't want to do it anymore. It feels too rote and too. I'm at 5:30 trying to do my, and you're not feeling any juice. You just want to go to sleep or, you know, eat a donut for breakfast or something. So the real masters get beyond regimen, beyond should-isms, beyond um, controlling should-isms. So that's happening. So most enlightenment schools, and even in shamanism too. Well, I'll do shamanism then. Really? 95% of shamanism is degenerated into black magic. Let's go to Peru and do ayahuasca. Really? Most of them, 95% of it is degenerated into black magic, soul control, and stealing energy. I got to be honest. I've been through it. And so finding the innocence, the open heart, the spontaneous moment, the natural unfolding, that's where we're headed to. And so foreshadowing from Buddha and Jesus and Krishna and masters. Now, real ayahuasca herself, she lives in that space of the oneness and the flow. But there's lots of people that want be misused. Why is Taoism used into Shaolin monks, about ego fighting? Because the ego is still there until it's always, the shadow is always going to confront you as long as you've put some of your energy there. Why is there an energy in the black? Spirit told me years ago. Because that's where we left it. You got to go and recover it. Soul retrievals, etc. So as the waters start boiling here on Earth, notice it's getting intense. Things are getting exposed. Revelations, Jeffrey Epstein, Overstock.com, all that stuff. Once you shine the light, when water rises, when the floods happen, everything gets wet. You can't say, I'm going to put up all my defenses and live in a gated neighborhood and just take all my pharmaceutical pills. You can do that, but you won't clean the stuff inside yourself. So it'll still be there wherever you go after you leave here, right? You can't outsmart, outplay, da-dong, survivor, outwit, outsmart, outplay God, Mother, the Tao. You can't do it. So as our stuff starts coming up inside us, that's the boiling of the waters inside us. We're made of water, basically. Take all the water out of you, you're a very small little dried up little piece about the size of a pint, the most, maybe less. So here in my neighborhood, it's showing up, right? Of course, perfect, right? So my neighbor's telling me next door, the people up the street go, if you park here, bad shit will do. That's the dark side, the flip side. Now that comes out, if it comes out in denial, it's warfare. As you notice, everything's getting triggered nowadays. The left stream, did I say that? The mainstream, the lamestream media is so obsessive, triggered by Trump. They're like almost like flipping out. Their veins are bulging, and it's getting desperate. It's like frenetic, fanatic, hysterical. Trump's just, and whether he's conscious of it or not, you can't know until you're a master. He's triggering all that, right? He's triggering the whole planet. I'll buy Greenland, and Denmark's like, what the fuck? You treating us like slaves? And so all that's going to get triggered, which it needs to. All that pretending is ivory tower spiritualism. Now, careful, it's not a fun journey, and thank you, God and Father and Mother, for being able to know it's tricky. Because the real cleanup is very different than the ivory tower, right? That's why we have that saying, those who teach, those who do things. Those who can't teach. Those who can't actually do it in the world, they can't actually run, a company, they'll teach business school at the university, see? Crazy masters, and some of them are very, very loving, like Yogananda was so loving about it. But if you read the behind the scenes stories or hear about them, he's not a shrinking violet, neither's any master. They are very funny, very playful, very irreverent, very no sacred cows. You're going to eat 2 cheeseburgers in front of somebody that he knows shouldn't follow him. Stories like that. Crazy masters, they call them. But the heart is going to be the only place. So all our, hey, I found the latest Diksha initiation or whatever. Or I found the way to drink my juice, but you got to combine them. Their latest trick. I was joking about this on the webcast yesterday. The reason it's not working is because you put the pineapple in before the green apple. It has to be a green apple. We get pedantic fanatics. That makes sense. The enzymes, that one. I could go, what's about the food combining? And I could run that for 5 years, 2, 3, 4 years. Time's getting tighter now. Oh, that's the magic pill we need. No, it's not going to work. Us getting authentic, getting real to heal with ourselves. So my neighbor was just telling me down the street, there's neighbors are literally across from each other. And one of them has put up these red, orange, angry cones in his driveway, right? I'm going, oh, he doesn't want anyone pulling in there. I get that. Well, then my neighbor volunteers. Well, it's because so and so across the street, she backs into his his driveway, and he doesn't like that, so he blocks it. So in spiritual Sedona, that fighting with your neighbor, projecting onto the other, they are the problem. I couldn't possibly have any of that stuff in me. They are the right. That's gonna boil everywhere. You can move to Sedona, to Boulder, and start your own commune up in let's say Crestone, Colorado. Well, or a retreat center in New Mexico in the boonies, and I'll just have my own followers. You can't evade the flood. You can't get away from it. Why? Because it's in you. You can't move to the gated community. It's like grandma moving with her grandson to the 55 and older community where everything's safe and controlled and we have security guards. And everyone's getting broken into. It couldn't be Johnny on meth, could it? Johnny would never do that. Couldn't be a priest, could it? He would never fuck my little boy in the ass. It couldn't be Prince Andrew, could it? He would never. The royals are great. Right? All that denial is going to have to come to an end now. And lest we project it on others and go, yeah, they're finally have to fucking wake up. No. It's going to be mostly you boiling yourself. That's what's happening to me. Thank God. Otherwise, you go off into la la land and let's create a cult. So then compassion happens. You actually feel it. You go, oh my God, what a human condition we're all in. I felt all this love for Jeffrey Epstein a couple of days ago. I'm not faking it. I wasn't looking for it. It just occurred. I could feel, oh my God, I could feel how he grew up and maybe a bit of a mathematical nerd and he wasn't good with women. And along comes, someone that offers him backing in form of money. I shouldn't say this stuff, but the point is it turns into real compassion for each other. But as long as we're blocking and wanting to blame and not willing to feel it to heal it in ourselves, it's going to continue. Bad shit will happen if you park here. Okay? So, for those with ears to hear, it's happening to me. Is it a hard journey? Yes. You'll hit dark places. Don't go looking for this. Don't go looking for it. Don't go looking for my ascension away. You see, the ego is so tricky. It wants, oh, I'm going through Kundalini symptoms too. Fuck that shit. Keep it real. Keep it honest with yourself. I'm feeling great today. And then, okay. But it seems like, for me at least, and maybe some of you, that I'm being encouraged, shall we say, corralled, herded into facing, upgrading, expanding. It's not, instead of the escapist enlightenment, I'm just trying to get above it. We're the Tibetans. We live above everybody else. We enslave all the simple people, farmers. They're basically a serf, a kingdom of slaves, right? You give us all that. That you pay tribute and taxes to us. We don't, give us your young boys to the ones we tell you that are going to be tokus and lamas or whatever. Right? Or in India, because neglecting the physical, did that turn into the biggest impoverished country in the world? Because let's escape out of here, the physical. Let's not pay attention to the physical. Oops, we've created Sudras, the untouchables, 700 million people that are untouchable, right? So what parts of us in our bodies have we made untouchable? Sudras, slaves, serfs, the body, right? So all that, if that's coming back to we're going to enlighten ourselves, we're going to upgrade our bodies. Huge task. I know this is crazy, sounds crazy for sort of still probably 80% of the population. But for that 1 billion, 1.3 billion people that are interested in awakening, it's amazing. We're going to have to face our own waters boiling, and they're going to come up a certain way. Emotional fears, physical symptoms cleaning out. When you boil butter, the black impurities rise to the surface. You're clarifying butter. We're clarifying, we're distilling, we're purifying our own waters at this time. Not easy. And then we try to be loving with each other, and then you have this, I'll put on my red cones. You can't fucking pull into my driveway. If you park here, bad shit will happen. In Sweetie Pie Sedona. Get it? So you can't run from it. Actually, the more if you're going through what doesn't look good spiritually, divorce, bankruptcy, cancer, nastiness, every drug addiction, whatever, a lot of the people that are going actually here as souls to clean out, they are going through very, quote, what looks like bad phases. How else do you clean up, detox the body? Heroin detox doesn't look good. You don't look good while you're going through it. So you're here doing soul detoxing. You may not look good. You may have some fluids and emotions and weird reactions. And, when the shamans went through their initiations, there was a hut on the outside the village where they would hear screams and they'd say, look, leave him alone, her alone. They're going through the purgatory, purging to see if they're going to survive. Most of many of the shamans didn't survive. You died in the process of trying to become a shaman because you're facing the dark side inside yourself. And you didn't look good. You were crazy. You'd be screaming and whatever, right? So anyway, most, quote, avoidance, bypassing, enlightenment paths aren't going to work at this time. They're stopping right now. So all those schools that promise enlightenment, why hasn't it happened? How many Buddhists actually became Buddhas compared to them, So not putting it down, it all has its place. So any fake spirituality at this point is going to get more and more exposed. Any magic pill spirituality. So you have like Buddhists going, or shamans going, look how stupid the Christians are. They think they can just take a magic pill, right? Well, aren't you doing that when you're like, oh, I'm not those kind of Buddhists. We're the Mahayana Buddhists, not the whatever the other ones are, right? Divide and conquer. So the heart, become ye as little children, get real to heal. That's the only safe place. The only reason I'm getting grace is because I'm trying to be honest with it, with myself and with the universe. And so grace comes in. If I still want to manipulate, oh, what a tangled web, it's not going to work. So many enlightenment paths, historical ones, are going to stop working. Lao Tzu might have been the only one who said, look, I'm not even creating a path because they're all going to degenerate, right? your breath. My dogs are more enlightened than most, and right? They breathe, they play, they fuck, they sniff each other's butts. They they don't exercise. They just run around and play like kids. There's no regimen. We have to go to the gym now. Nothing wrong with that to get healthy. I'd like to be able to get back to the gym a little bit, let's get some strength back. So anyway, it's going to get realer and realer, and the water shall boil more and more, and many of the old traditions will be failing. Of course they will. They're corrupted or fallen traditions instead of the purity of Buddha or ayahuasca or Pele or Mother Mary or Christ or Yogananda or St. Francis or Hilarion or St. Anthony, Babaji, the real ones. They don't have pedantic rules and forms. They don't have the 12 steps towards the 7 spheres of the holy triads, right? You must learn these steps. And I'm not throwing the whole baby out with the bathwater. I do Kriya Yoga, but mostly I do just feeling my energies from the inside. I breathe up and down my spinal column. I'm kind of like searching through my being and body. It's actually being forced upon me in a sense. Not really. To my personality, it feels that way. My soul wants it. I want it. I asked Joy the other day, ask me if I could go back to 2 years ago before the, quote, purging started happening at another level. And if I could still have that trajectory of looking like good spiritual teacher, everything going great and get to play the star. People think you know something. I wouldn't want that. That's success worship. Your success graven images. I look good. I'm a speaker at the Super Duper conference. Ooh, I have 300,000 followers. Ooh. Right? So all this stuff is going to come to light right at this time. Anyhow, so as the water's boiling you, if that's the path you're on, very brave, very beautiful, much respected. I just met with a newfound friend. We might talk more later. We spent years in the Marine Corps. And he's gone through major Kundalini awakening in 3 years, like full on. And beautiful. So it's happening to lots of us across the planet. It's not going to stop. We're not going to go back to leave it to Beaver. It's not going to happen. This is going to continue to accelerate and speed up. So much love, support. If you're interested, the webcasts I'm still doing on Sundays, and it's mostly now about the real ascension process. Not even ascension. That's the word we don't even like. It's like expansion. You're expanding. Because if you have to expand into the dark, as you expand into the light, the corollary or the polarity thing is when you also have to expand into the dark. The tree is halfway. The tree of life is halfway above ground and halfway underground. So humans trying to be all light on the surface and blue and white light. It's getting ridiculous. You need some red and black. You need your root chakra. You need the black chakra between your knees, which most people don't have. What? There's a black chakra? Yes. And more. All right. Much love. I don't want to be flippant. I want to be heartful, but being a little bit real with my path and what's happening to me that may be helpful for others, So Allie comes and says, we're done, Dad. That's enough. People heard enough of your yakking. Stop it already. We need to keep this simple. All right. I hear you. We're done. Much love. TobiasLars.com. I'm interested. The inner body awakening, ancient Shiva technique. It's kind of like Nidra yoga. If you're interested in that, innerbodyawakening.com, alchemyenergy.com. I'm sorry, alchemy energy. What do I call that? alchemy energy process. I got several URLs. And the heart energy, this toroidal heart field, because the heart is going to be what keeps us safe. You know, the heart's going to keep us from going off into power trips and more black magic and shit like that. All right. Much love. More to come. Ciao.